what is the Kashi Tamil Sangamam?
Have you heard of POCSO Act?
Yes, ma'am.
What exactly it is and what are its loopholes?
States like Tamil Nadu particularly, people are not very much comfortable with Hindi. What has been the reason behind their discontent with this particular language?
Do you think social media is also a drug?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, come in.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
ma'am.
Please be seated.
Thank you, sir.
Please give a brief introduction about yourself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Prashanth. I'm from Chennai, Tamil Nadu. I've graduated from the Madras Medical College from June 2022. I've done my schooling from the DAV Group of Schools, Chennai. I love playing chess, swimming, and I'm part of organizations such as the Cancer Survivor Support Group, the Indian Medical Association, and I conduct drug de-addiction drives.
Prashant, tell me, you are a product of Madras Medical College, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Why it is not called Chennai Medical College?
Sir, briefly, during the 2006 period, the name was changed from Madras Medical College to Chennai Medical College and Research Institute. But since it has been associated since 1835, which is the inception of the medical college, as the Madras Medical College, people thought that it was wise to associate it with the same name, and hence the name was changed back to Madras Medical College.
Wonderful. Prashant, tell me, you have worked for the cancer survivors also. Why cancer cases are increasing in India?
Sir, there could be modifiable risk factors associated and non-modifiable as well. As far as the modifiable risk factors are concerned, those lead to the increase in cancer cases to currently 15.9 lakh cases in our country alone, of which 1/3 lead to mortality. And as far as the increase is concerned, sir, one would be due to the Western lifestyle, where there are more fat content in our food, alcohol and tobacco consumption, which can all lead to cancers of the gastrointestinal tract or lung cancer as such. So that would be one. The second thing is about the increasing average lifespan of the human, where especially in India, it's currently at 70. So that again leads to more cancers. The third thing is about how radiology and pathology have improved over the years to diagnose cases at an earlier stage. So these would be three reasons. And the fourth one is about the fertilizer run and the pesticide treadmill, which has again led to more cancers.
Wonderful. Tell me, what are the latest technologies in the cancer treatment?
So the first one would be the chimeric antigen receptor T cell therapy, the CAR cell therapy, of which the leukemias and the lymphomas can be cured. So that would be one. Especially we had Major General Singh, Mr. Gupta, who was cured of leukemia with CAR cell therapy at the Tata Memorial Institute. The second thing is about theranostics, where therapeutics and diagnostics are combined together with a radioactive tracer, and that's a new field of therapy as well. The third thing is about nutrigenomics and artificial intelligence predictive analysis, through which they've been able to predict the persistence of cancer or maybe the recurrence of cancer per se. Example would be the MAMA print, which is used in breast cancer. So these are certain new areas, sir.
So artificial intelligence, what is the status of the development of artificial intelligence in our country for the treatment of cancer?
So as far as the development of artificial intelligence is concerned, it's at a sector worth $7.8 billion in our country with respect to the healthcare. And as far as the advances are concerned with respect to cancer care, one, there is predictive analysis software tools, especially at the Tata Memorial Institute. They've been employing these to predict the prevalence of cancer per se. The second thing is about how public health programs have been devised on the basis of AI tools, which can help predict certain cancers to be more prevalent over the others. Say the breast cancer is the most common cancer in case of female, and the second one would be the cervical cancers. The third thing is about how a particular tumor or a nodule can be considered benign, but AI flags it as a malignant nodule. So these are three areas where artificial intelligence is used.
One last question from my side. You see, there is another area of concern, so worrisome trend which is emerging in our country is the use of antibiotics in our country. As per NCDC report, doctors in our country are using or prescribing more than one antibiotics, leading to microbial resistance and all that. So why it is happening and how to prevent it?
Sir, the antimicrobial resistance has been considered to be one of the 10 global risks that threaten both the country as well as the globe as such. of which $100 trillion GDP has been estimated to be the loss by 2050 across the globe. And as far as the causes are concerned, one is about the overuse of antibiotics, both be it by practitioners or the general public as such who consume antibiotics over the counters. The second thing is about how the environment has been spoiled per se, considering that colistin antibiotic has been fed for the poultry as well. And the third thing is about the clean and disinfective practices that are to be undertaken at the hospitals. So these are three causes. And when it comes to the steps that have been taken, one would be the Red Line campaign and the Chennai Declaration, which has been put up on antibiotics per se. So that again stops the over-the-counter prescriptions, which have been included under Schedule H drugs. The second thing is about the GLASS protocol, the Global Initiatives for Antibiotic Surveillance, which they've classified into three categories. The AWARE classification, as they call it, the Axis, Watch, and the Reserve set of antibiotics. The third thing is about how antibiotic stewardship has to be undertaken with respect to prescription of antibiotics, so that the same antibiotic is not overused over and again.
Thank you very much, Prashanth.
Thank you, sir.
Prashanth, what are the different components of health economy?
So as far as the health economy is concerned, one would be with respect to the medical devices and the pharmaceutical drug industry. The second is with respect to the health insurance sector. The third would be with respect to the production of allied health services, say the paramedical services. The fourth one would, with respect to this, be on the disinfective practices and the sterilization that are undertaken as part of the health setup, which is the biomedical waste management practices. So all these four would constitute the
health education is also a big component.
Yes, sir, definitely. Sorry, sir, it skipped from my mind.
Okay. Do you think this that a deliberate strategy on the part of government to promote health economy is inadvertently progressing, or rather encouraging unethical practices among different suppliers of health products?
Sir, considering that the health economy is definitely a huge economy per se, even if we were to take the health insurance sector, it comes to at least a budget outlay of 7,500 crores, and we do have private insurers as well. So there are private players who are part of the health economy, which naturally leads to a capitalist mindset because they need to reap profits per se. But then, sir, there are steps that are taken by the government in order to subsidize the cost with respect to the health economy, be it about the medical devices or the pharmaceutical drugs per se as well. We have the production-linked incentive scheme, which works over 12 sectors. And we do have the health insurance, which has been subsidized with zero fee content from the particular patient. And 7,500 crores for 55 million subscribers have been provided. So basically. And as far as the private players are concerned, they have again not been put at a loss. And that is why we have the private public healthcare models as well. And hospitals are being brought up. The example would be the Safdarjung Hospital, which runs CTs with a private public model.
Many experts make allegation that health product suppliers, whether they are drug makers or equipment makers, are earning supernormal profit. In this context, can you distinguish between normal profit and supernormal profit?
Sir, with respect to normal profits or the supernormal profits, as you had rightly mentioned, sir, there are no particular standards per se when it comes to the price fixation policy. And that is where the role of generic drugs come into play. And the government has brought in the generic drug policy where doctors are supposed to prescribe those drugs irrespective of the patient's condition and not the branded drugs per se. And that has been opposed by the private players as well. So that would be one, sir. With respect to the medical devices and the equipments as well, the diagnostic part, again, there are cases where a CT can be taken at 500 rupees at the GH, while the private players do charge somewhere around 5,000 to 10,000. And the same thing has been taken into consideration by the Honorable Supreme Court, which has recently asked the union government to appoint a committee to look into the standardization of such healthcare procedures, diagnostic services, and practices. And once this comes up, definitely, I'm sure that healthcare will be even further subsidized for the common man.
There is general economic philosophy that those goods and services which are necessities for human beings, the demand for such goods are inelastic on the part of consumer. Whatever the price the producer or supplier is charging, they have to buy it, whether it is food or health products, etc. In case of food, government strongly restricts price of food items. not through only subsidy, but many other tools are deployed. Do you think that health service is also much more a necessity and demand for this is inelastic? So not only the drug price and equipment price, but the health service provided by experts. So the price of that also be regulated strongly by the government?
Sir, I believe there needs to be a cap on the amount that can be charged with respect to the healthcare services, be it the products or the procedures per se. And that would be more because it needs to be more accessible, affordable for the common man in order to achieve the universal health coverage practices that we espouse. The National Health Policy also is in line with this regard. And as far as the cap is concerned, that could probably be a mechanism where the private players are also not at a loss, and the public is also benefited, such that they could probably have a gradation of the services. Say, I do know of a particular hospital at my place. It's a private care center which charges two particular sets of costs, and that is because they have free healthcare services for the common man, which happens at a slower pace relatively, while there's yet another gradation where a little more affluent population go to, and the services are a little faster. So maybe for the common ailments where time is not of much concern, those are the places where we could probably employ the first one, while emergency and urgent scenarios can be put for the second one. So probably we could devolve a mechanism alongside negotiations with such private players so that both of them are in a win-win situation.
Do we have GST on health services and health products?
Sir, to my knowledge, no.
No GST on any of the components of health services? Drugs, equipments, advices?
Sir, I'm not exactly sure, but to my knowledge, no, sir.
Okay, never mind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Prashanth,
Yes, ma'am.
tell me that why, especially in South India, there is too much of rise between human and animal conflict. What has given rise to all of a sudden, such kind of incidents? Earlier also animals were existent there, right? Tell me.
Recently there were human-animal or human-wildlife conflicts with respect to the state of Kerala, and they've brought it into the Disaster Management Act as well for the officials of the NDMA to take NDMA or the district management to disaster management to take up the cause of human-wildlife conflicts. And as far as the reasons are concerned, ma'am, I see that one, Kerala or the other southern states have had a very good amount of forest cover, considering that Tamil Nadu has, to my knowledge, 17.43% of the forest cover with respect to the state. And as far as development is concerned, there has been more shift towards industrial development in the southern states, because of which the forests have been destroyed as well. And once the habitat of the wildlife has been destroyed, it has no other go but to loom large into the agricultural fields, or maybe even roam near the industries per se, which are situated near these forests. So naturally, it's ecological imbalance that has been struck between development and ecocentric models. So this would be the primary reason.
Okay, I agree to your points. So somewhere we need to stop development?
Ma'am, it's about striking a balance between development and with respect to industrialization or the manufacturing practices as well. And that, I believe, is where sustainable development comes into role. And as far as the same is concerned, ma'am, one, that we could probably ensure that compensatory afforestation is ensured and an environment impact assessment is done beforehand. Even with respect to hydroelectric power projects and nuclear power plants, we don't have the policy of doing an environmental impact assessment for 15 years, and a lot can change in these 15 years. So maybe these are certain measures that we need to take to ensure that there is a balance that is struck. And the second thing being about rehabilitation of people nearby and community conservation reserves as well, which can be planned alongside development.
Okay, great. Have you heard of POXO Act?
Yes, ma'am.
What exactly it is and what are its loopholes?
Ma'am, the POXO Act is the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. And this act basically entails protection of children who are less than 18 years from any form of sexual harassment. And with respect to the gender neutrality of the act as well, to my knowledge, I think it protects boys who are less than 14 years. But with respect to girls, the protection is until 18. So the gender neutrality has not been existent until 18 years for both the sexes. So
you are a doctor. Tell me that the age, with which we consider a child as a child, is it appropriate? Because some of the crimes which are so heinous and been committed by a child, how do we consider it?
ma'am, to my knowledge, still the age is right. Whatever has been fixed up at the 18 years is definitely right, considering that it is not until 18 that a person completely matures both physically or mentally. And when it comes to the rising cases of POCSO, one observation made by the Honorable Supreme Court was that most of these also happen to be romantic relationships between people of ages of say 14 to 16. And maybe the government can put up a panel or a committee which can opine and decriminalize offences between romantic relationships of the 16-year age group. So this could be one consideration for the rise of POCSO cases, and that is a flaw that needs to be removed as well. The second thing is about how online pornography and the sources available in the internet have again led to a rise in the POCSO cases. And the government has definitely taken up regulations to ban such sites, and we recently had at least 16 platforms being banned under the IT Act as well. So these are certain measures that we can improvise the POCSO Act through which the conviction rate can also be improved.
Okay, what is palliative care?
Ma'am, palliative care refers to the services which are taken up by medical practitioners and the paramedical personnel in order to ensure end-of-life care for a person suffering from a terminal illness, which could be, say, cancer, or it could be even Alzheimer's disease, which are very debilitating in nature and can serve the purpose of pain reduction to improve the quality of life for the particular patient.
So my last question to you, as a doctor, tell me how one can die with dignity.
Ma'am, there is a provision of living will which has been ensured by the Constitution and the Honorable Supreme Court, wherein a person can give advance directives on the modality of treatment that he needs to take up. So that would be one. The second thing is about the practices of passive euthanasia, which has been legalized by the Honorable Supreme Court as well under the Aruna Schoenberg case. So that is something where patients can take up in order to ensure that they have a peaceful death maybe, which is probably the right to death with dignity. And the third thing is about how a patient in the census can again decide for the care and probably choose to take up palliative and hospice care instead of taking up active treatment.
Oh, thank you, Prashanth.
Thank you, ma'am.
Prashanth, you belong to two states, right? One is Maharashtra, another
Yes,
one
sir.
is Tamil Nadu. Can you do a comparative analysis of societies of these two states for us?
Yes, sir. Sir, the first thing would be with respect to the food cuisines that I would like to compare. That Maharashtra has a mix of both the South and the North Indian cuisines, while the state of Tamil Nadu is more towards the South and people relish the dishes of, say, idli and dosa. And probably if you would like to come, I would offer you a chance to have a masala dosa as well in Tamil Nadu. With respect to the second thing would be the dressing patterns. Say, the women have the style of wearing saris, which we call the Navvari style in Maharashtra, while with respect to Tamil Nadu, it is the Madisar type of wearing a particular sari. And the third thing is about the festivals that are celebrated. With respect to Maharashtra, the Ganapati festival, the Shivaji festival are more celebrated fervently, while with respect to the state of Tamil Nadu, the festivals of Pongal, Diwali are more in the limelight. So these are three areas where societies can be compared, sir.
Right. As far as their political choices are concerned, what we have seen that in recent years, in the states like Tamil Nadu, the national parties are not that much successful. Although in Maharashtra, they are able to get some inroads. What is the reason behind it? Why national parties are failing in states like Tamil Nadu?
Sir, if I may humbly disagree with that point, sir. National parties have been playing a major role in the state of Tamil Nadu as well, if we were to see the period between 1947 until 1972, when the Congress was in fact in power, and we had...
I am talking about recent years, last 15 years. Yeah.
Yes, sir. With respect to the last 15 years, the role of the Dravidian parties have been more into play with respect to the state of Tamil Nadu, while the national parties have had a relatively minor role in the state of Tamil Nadu, and that I believe is more due to the continuation of the Dravidian policies and the emphasis on social justice and social sector expenditure, which they call the Dravidian model of governance, that both the parties, be it the major parties such as the DMK or the ADMK, have espoused, while the national parties have focused more on schemes and policies of the national development and the Honorable Prime Minister's vision of Bharat per se, which has not been more in consonance with the state of Tamil Nadu or the people of Tamil Nadu, because their emphasis and the requirements have been a lot more different. While with respect to the state of Maharashtra, it has always been one where national players and the regional parties have coexisted, and that again explains the existence of both.
One interesting fact coming from your DAF form is that you have opted for Hindi as your mandatory language, Indian language paper, right? Usually it has been seen that in South India, states like Tamil Nadu particularly, people are not very much comfortable with Hindi. What has been the reason behind their discontent with this particular language?
So with changing times, I feel it's the consideration with respect to Hindi is more so not with the people of Tamil Nadu, but it's a policy decision of the government of Tamil Nadu not to permit the 3-language policy or maybe accept Hindi as a third language. So I see it more as a policy decision of the government of Tamil Nadu, considering that there are Hindi Prachar Sabhas, the Dakshin Bharat Hindi Prachar Sabhas, where people learn Hindi, and there are at least 10,000 takers every year for the exam. In fact, I learned it as my second language, and not just me, but my mom, my dad, and for generations together, we've all been learning Hindi as well. And there is quite a good amount of reception at the state. I feel that it's more of a policy decision than the people's mandate, sir.
Right. My last question to you is that recently our External Affairs Minister, while visiting in Philippines, he has supported the sovereignty of Philippines, right? Especially with respect to a particular area which is called as South China Sea. Now, what is the importance of South China Sea particularly for India? Geostrategic importance of South China Sea for India.
So one would be with respect to the geostrategic importance, being that India already happens to be net security provider in the Indian Ocean region under the SAGA scheme, which is the security and growth for all in the region, while China has been relatively landlocked, considering that they have an outlet towards the South China Sea. And once there is a Malaccan dilemma through which they will not be able to transport goods and services across the Malaccan Strait, they find the South China Sea to be an alternative avenue to take up trade in the Indian Ocean region or the South China Sea region as well. So that would account at least 40% of the global trade. And the second thing being, the South China Sea again has a vast resource of petroleum and polymetallic nodules and the rare earth elements that are required for the buildup of semiconductors or the electronic infrastructures as well. And again, with respect to the petroleum reserves, it could turn China a global player. So these are certain issues because of which India will be at a disadvantage if China were to gain grounds on these issues. And controlling the South China Sea again makes them a bigger player. And the other countries of Vietnam or Japan, which have been laying claims over the South China Sea and the islands such as the Spratly Islands or the Senkaku Islands, will be at a disadvantage.
Thank you, Prashant.
Thank you, sir.
Prashant, I see from your DAF that you have been associated with drug de-addiction drives also. So can you tell us what is drug trafficking?
So drug trafficking refers to illegal means of drug procurement, maybe from illegal producers as well, or it could be from legitimate producers but through backdoor mechanisms. Say there are farmers even in the Neemuch-Mandsaur region wherein people take up drug trafficking because there are stringent protection laws and legal laws with respect to drug production. And say even if the produce happens to be a little more than the estimated amounts, they are put behind bars. So they do take up these avenues of selling it to third-party players and non-state actors, which lead to drug trafficking. And the Hizbul Mujahideen is more into this.
Okay. So what are some of the prominent drug trafficking corridors around the world?
So around the
world.
So one would be with respect to the Golden Triangle and the Golden Crescent. The Golden Triangle being the area between Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, and with respect to the Golden Crescent, the area between Iran, Afghanistan, and the Pakistan belt. So these would be two major areas. Apart from that, sir, maybe with respect to the Horn of Africa, the Djibouti region as well, and the Malaccan Strait also, where there are instances of drug trafficking.
Okay. It can be clearly seen that the menace of drug trafficking affects the normal life flow of individuals and also affects the countries at large. So can you tell us which of the sustainable development goals are broadly affected by this menace?
So may I take a moment to think?
Please.
So the issues of industrial development and growth and economic empowerment under SDG 8 would be affected. Then there is SDG 16 where there is justice and the same is being affected as well. And then with respect to SDGs of 3 where there is health which is being affected, and SDG of 4 concerning education as well, because the youth are the one who are majorly affected by drug menace.
Great. Talking about the problems faced by youth due to the problem of drug trafficking and drug menace, when it comes to India, certain parts of the country, particularly the state of Punjab and certain parts of the northeast, are very much affected by the issue of drug abuse. So why these regions are very much affected, and what remedial measures have been taken to overcome this problem?
So the major reasons why people around the Punjab belt or the northeastern belt could be affected would be one, with respect to the proximity to the Golden Triangle and the Golden Crescent, that would be one, sir. With respect to two, that is the prevalence of narco-terrorism, where there's the black hole syndrome and non-state actors continue the production and trade through which they gain their finances as well. So that would be two. Especially we have Myanmar which sells drugs to the northeast belt, because of which they derive their finances. And the third thing would be with respect to the increased prevalences of unemployment and peer pressure with respect to the youth in these areas. So these are three areas which cause an increase in drug trafficking. And as far as the reasons, the
remedial
measures are concerned with respect to drug trafficking, one would be the community engagement and roping in of NGOs to help save our youth, which happens through the Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan. The second thing is about international conventions, where we have the Vienna Convention or the United Nations Convention on Transnational Organized Crimes. The third one would be with respect to stringent laws that have been brought in, such as the Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act 1985, which again stipulates the commercial quantities or trivial quantities, which again can help patients repatriate.
Great, Prashanth. My final question to you. Like any other drug, its overuse results into abuse. In this context, do you think social media is also a drug?
So social media also could be considered a drug, maybe not one which affects the physical thing per se, though there are again physical effects as well, but more on the mental side, because of which even online gaming addiction have been considered, or even overuse of cell phone have been considered as psychiatric disorders under the DSM-5 and ICD-11 classification of diseases. So social media addiction also happens to be one where people could lead to obesity or couch potato syndrome, and hence is a form of an addiction, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
What is the Kashi Tamil Sangamam?
So the Kashi Tamil Sangamam was recently celebrated in the months of, I think, February, sir, wherein there is a cultural exchange between Kashi, which has been considered as the hometown of the Lord Shiva, and also there is a connect with the south of the place in South India or Tamil Nadu, which is Rameshwaram, where again there is a connect with Lord Shiva. So there is a cultural exchange between the places of Kashi and Tamil Nadu, which happens on a yearly basis, and the Ministry of Culture and Tourism have combined together to bring in this Kashi Tamil Sangamam.
Is it Ministry of Education or Ministry of Culture?
Sir, to my knowledge, it was Ministry of Culture, though I'll look up, sir. I'm not very sure about it.
Thank you very much. It was nice talking to you. The interview is over. You may go now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Sit down, Prashanth.
Thank you, sir.
Prashanth, is when is your interview?
So it's tomorrow.
Hardly any time. Which attempt is this for you?
So it's my first serious attempt.
First serious.
And just at the end of internship, I gave a namesake prelim, so it's my first serious
otherwise,
attempt.
altogether?
2, sir.
Second?
Yeah.
Okay. So how was your experience today with us?
So I really enjoyed the conversation, and it was an enlightening experience, I would say, sir.
You are a wonderful candidate, Prashanth, I must tell you.
Thank you, sir.
A wonderful candidate, and you have nothing to worry about as far as the personality test is concerned. And you will be getting very good marks in the personality test, no doubt about it. It all depends on how you have performed in your mains examination. So this examination, this personality test will really improve upon your overall ranking, if at all you are there in the list of successful candidates. So nothing much to tell you. Few small points by way of advice, so that you improve upon your performance further. First is your sense of dressing.
So that have a different coat to wear, sir. So this was just for the mock.
Okay, so you are going to wear a different
I have a
coat.
blue coat with a white shirt and red tie, sir.
That's good. That's good.
A new one.
Second thing, when you enter and you sit down, then while sitting down, you should open the coat button,
Yes,
which
sir.
you forgot today. So tomorrow is only 24 hours time is there at your disposal. Make sure, because this is
Yes, sir.
all etiquette and all that. So you unbutton it, and while leaving, you try to
Yes,
button
sir.
it also. Then tie length is also too long for you. So make sure that tie length matches with your suit and all that.
Yes, sir.
And I hope you will go with clean
shaven, sir.
Okay, so those were the points which you have noticed. Second, hand movement, of course, is very natural to all Indians. Try to restrict it as far as possible.
Yes,
If you
sir.
are able to keep both your hands on your thighs, so that you don't have any occasion to. Then third thing is, you see, you have a natural flair to speak, because the moment we finish a question, you try to understand intent of the question and you start giving answers. Our suggestion to you is, take a pause, very brief pause of 3 to 4 seconds, and in the 4-5 seconds try to think positively, try to collect your ideas positively, and try to prioritize your arguments just in 4-5 seconds, because you have all the knowledge available at your disposal. So plethora of information is there. Only thing is, what is to be said, what remain unsaid, that is what is important.
Sure, sir.
Like for example, I am giving one example, that about the one question was asked about the normal profit and supernormal profit. What is that? Question was, intent of the question was very clear, very simple. What's the difference between a normal profit and a supernormal profit? Instead of explaining that, you try to cover up the whole thing by going into the area of generic medicines and all that. So if you know, no issues. If you don't know, candidly admit, sir, I'm not aware. Profit part I am aware, but from what you have said, sir, probably more than profit is super profit. But
Yes,
it's a
sir.
commonsensical
Yes, sir.
order, but I don't have a technical definition of it, but it should be like that.
Sure, sir.
So that the board member appreciates that his point has been well taken by the candidate, and
Yes,
he
sir.
has been speaking accordingly. So that is what is important. Otherwise, wonderful candidate. You are, as I mentioned at the very outset, that you have that natural flair and mental alacrity, what I call it, to speak the moment you understand the question. That is good also. It's not that it's a bad this thing, but try to be,
Yes, sir.
isn't it? And then mental alertness is there. Mentally you are very alert. You have the critical power of assimilation, which we could see. So you could critically analyze the situations, critically analyze cases, critically analyze situations and all that. And you have a very clear and logical exposition. And these are very good. Then board will also like to see the social traits in you by giving you some factual questions. How do you react to such questions? And we have asked you a question on the language formula. Your answers are very balanced and very focused. That is how it should be. Balance of judgment is very important. You should, and you have maintained that. And you have variety and depth of interest, because we try to ask questions on a variety of issues. So you clearly displayed your depth of interest, no doubt about it. You have the innate leadership qualities also, which you can judge from sitting this side. And your moral integrity, you never ever compromise with your moral integrity. These are the traits based on which your personality will be judged, and you are bang on all these parameters. You will be getting very good marks in the interview. Be confident, go with a positive body language, don't be overconfident.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so be confident, and then just take a pause and before starting, and in the meanwhile You collect your ideas, collect your thoughts, conjure up your ideas, and then you go for it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure, sir.
All the best to you. If you have any question to ask, feel free to ask.
Sir, no question per se, sir. Yeah.
All the best to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.